ready yet, so
That's okay. I knew I was a little early.
okay, thank you.
Um, I'm only going to be in a half a day tomorrow too. It's my 50th law school reunion, so I'm going to go to Hofstra in the evening. It's at the, I don't know. There's only 12 people showing up, so 11, 170. I always trouble riding this. So we gotta go here. Okay. There's particular city code. Or what, okay, well,
Thank you.
See, domestic partners to me would not be individuals.
That was okay. No, we don't have to fight the crowd and make it have a seat.
Oh yes, sure. Yeah, I thought it was
Okay,
one
what's this
instead of
article?
four.
Thank God for Mike.
What? Personnel.
But it's not.
Let's do personnel.
That's the thing. I know.
Hey, Joe, whose purposes, employees and future retirees for complete. This is nothing.
Can I?
to do
Can I?
with-
Brown?
Can I have
No.
Sir.
But
Mr. Brown, there's another one.
But I don't think it was. There's no way in the world.
And then you can pass it to my friend.
this yours?
Oh, that's
No.
right.
You can pass it.
Who's the,
Oh, yours?
How you doing?
Okay.
Good. Hang in there.
Yeah, he's been in Philadelphia.
Crazy times.
All right.
You see Bethlehem today?
Oh my goodness. I'm so upset. I'm
So
mad. I'm
upset.
really mad.
declare it. There's something wrong here with two.
I think between 57 people.
Not many.
I
I
think.
felt like something about 10, but
Oh, somebody texted me 57.
I
Like, I don't say that because, of course, until the news media,
Okay.
don't know.
you know, verify.
That'd be fine.
It's hard to.
Different numbers, yeah.
Chief.
But just what happened is like scary.
Really messed up.
Yeah. And then LA, you know. See, we can.
Oh, you know, care so much about that. Like, I mean,
Oh boy.
side of it is one thing. The freaking money. Investing charity money.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think there's more hate than understanding of how the, you know,
I don't think most people
understand
support that.
yeah. Which one?
I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah.
Owns what
Oh,
the other
don't,
side of the
oh
aisle.
my God. I shared, like to know, you know,
That long?
the Easton, everything Easton page. Oh my God, that's too common.
I have a lot of those. There were some like
Were you?
comments. Sort of
Mine's all apart.
and like they have no friends. They
I haven't
no
been last
friends.
year.
I think it's a lot of not all of
November.
it.
No, no,
I think
but
just a
yeah.
lot of it is.
Yeah.
So you
And
think,
others
so then
probably,
you're like
and
thinking
other
like,
probably all
yeah, but like, so I think it's almost designed so you think like, oh, so many people are against it.
yeah.
I don't know. That's it.
No,
does,
but you
it
got a
does
point.
happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a point.
Oh, you got it good too. That's right.
Because I started looking.
One
like,
leg went in the pool, one leg went on.
I had made, like,
on the
this
apron.
kind of stuff around here, and like you start looking, digging
Thank
into
God
some
I'm
of those
fresh.
profiles. There's nothing there. And it's like, photos look suspect. Or there's only
How you
one.
doing?
How are you?
There's no post. They have like one friend pick that.
Or their IDs are logged.
Yeah,
Up call?
it's just that's suspect to me. If you had such a big mouth like that.
Well, you have to,
Yeah.
you fill out a special
you can find
permit?
a few that live in the area.
No special event permit.
I live somewhere else, or at least that's.
Oh, okay. Thank
Which
you.
makes me sleep a little bit better, but
Now that's called
it's still
delivery.
ridiculous.
That's called delivery.
There are people who get it from the dirt.
Oh, that's a valid point. Yeah.
Alright, where am I
It's
here?
hard for a lot of people to say that they were wrong.
I hope. Quiet in here.
I'm just looking at that code, but it doesn't erase one.
Yes.
Yeah. Scalzo? Yes.
I know, I probably just as correspondence.
He's here to address the issue that came up last
Um,
evening when. That's correct.
On agenda, no. No, I think it's under correspondence.
Yes.
Oh, under correspondence? I'll take that then.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fine.
Oh.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Please rise for the invocation followed by the pledge of the flag. Heavenly Father, we ask that you tonight watch over our nation as violence is again on the rise, and especially watch over Los Angeles and Mayor Bass, where ICE protests have marred the city of angels with violence. We also ask to watch over Easton to keep our residents safe, and we ask that you watch over these new firefighters who are present tonight, 2 of whom are being promoted to lieutenant, and 4 new firefighters who had just graduated from the fire academy, joining our outstanding fire department. Keep them safe as they keep our residents safe. And finally, Father, we thank you for your night on July 9th, 1978 in Las Vegas, when one of our own, Larry Holmes, won the heavyweight championship of the world and held it for 7.5 years and put our city on the international stage. And this year is bringing back his Larry Holmes Kids Day to Easton. Also, please remember tonight, rest in peace, King Charles and Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Ms. Sultana?
Here.
And Mayor Panto?
Here. We'll have approval of the agenda.
Second.
Moved in second. Any additions or deletions? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone? Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Action on the minutes of our May 28th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any additions or deletions or corrections? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
At this time, we have an opportunity for a presentation to City Council. We have 2 lieutenants, firefighters are being promoted to lieutenant, and 4 that will be sworn in tonight for the first time to join our ranks.
We're going to do the lieutenants first.
Ian Inslee was a firefighter on second platoon. He's going to be promoted to lieutenant, and he will be the lieutenant on first platoon. Alex Patetta was the firefighter on third platoon. He's promoted and will be going to second platoon. We'll do the oath first, and then we'll.
Solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth. That I will discharge the duties of my office as lieutenant with fidelity. I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and implement all policies and procedures without consideration of a person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I knowingly a member of any organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this Commonwealth. Nor will I deny any other persons their rights under the Constitution of the United States or of this Commonwealth. I do further swear that I will not so advocate, nor will I knowingly become a member of such organization during the period that I'm a firefighter in the city of Easton. Congratulations.
If we could have Kim, Ian's wife, Kim, and the kids come up to do his pinning.
Great guys.
And Lauren
guys.
is Alex's wife. Come up.
Hey, look, you see what I got right for today. We're gonna get that swapped out. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm glad you do it here instead of at the academy. It's graduation. I didn't like it there. You could hug her if you want. Yeah, he was.
I want these two gentlemen to know that I have a lot of respect for our fire department. Our firefighters do a tremendous job. They do an outstanding job. And I hope before I leave office in 2.5 years, I hope that they'll have new firehouses that they can at least feel more comfortable in.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Okay. Now we're going to do the 4 new firefighters: Corey Weedall, Devin Fisher, Devin Sweeney, and Yanni Mariah.
Your grandmother's here too.
Yeah, the whole family. Come on, Corey, move down. It's like weigh-ins in a Sunday morning.
Good. Right? Better than so. Yeah. I know, right?
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties as a would like to thank the families that are here tonight for allowing your sons and grandsons and nephews and nieces. No, there's no females tonight. It's all 4 males. To be a member of our fire department. I know they're going to miss a lot of family functions in the next coming years. Hopefully, it's a long career, a healthy career, and but sometimes the families are overlooked. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the citizens of Easton. We thank you all. And I also want to thank the current firefighters who came out tonight. Some of them are on shift, some of them are not on shift. Congratulations. They're here to support the new candidates. They're no longer cadets. They're still probies though, right guys? Kevin's back there shaking his head.
Hey, Chief, was any of them responsible for losing the flag at the academy?
They're not going to tell.
We ran it up the flagpole here in the circle and took pictures.
I believe it, sir.
Then we took it to Lafayette.
At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to Councilmember Pinnabone to present the Juneteenth awards.
Thank you, Mayor. I brought these awards to council last year to celebrate some of our residents who were the first of many. So we did 3 last year, and this year we have 2. The first one is Miss Frances Ketchen. Her son in the back presented us some information that we're going to read today, and then we have an award for the family on her behalf. Frances Ketchen, daughter of the late Viola and Daniel Hackett Sr., was born on November 19th, 1929 in the Bronx, New York. She was the second of 5 children. Frances graduated from Morris High School in the Bronx. She moved to Easton, PA with her husband Eugene in 1952. Frances was a person of many firsts. She was the first black cashier at the former Mohican Market in downtown Easton. She was a community relations specialist for the Easton Redevelopment Authority and worked as a family caseworker for Family Counseling of Easton, PA. Frances also worked as the area coordinator for the Negro Trade Union Leadership Council in Philadelphia, PA. Later, Frances started the nonprofit organization called Ebony Youth Employment and Training Incorporated. Among her first, Frances was the first African American to serve on Easton Area School Board. She was the first African American to run for City Council in Easton. Frances also served as a board member on the operating committee of the Northampton County VOTEC. She served on the board, the Southside Neighborhood Center. Frances also served on the board of the Lehigh Valley United Way, serving Easton and Bethlehem, and was chairperson of the Youth Council for the Lehigh Valley Manpower Program. Frances was a lifetime member and past president of the Easton branch of the NAACP. Under her leadership, the branch opened its first office in downtown Easton. Wanting to continue her education, Frances attended Cedar Crest College and Northampton Community College. She was also inducted into the 12th edition of Who's Who of American Women. She was presented with the Gold Award from the United Way of the Lehigh Valley. As a member of Greater Shiloh Church, Frances was one of the original board members of Shiloh Manor. Frances had many interests. Her early interests included bingo, watching football and basketball, and playing card games with friends and family. Her later activities included visiting flea markets, traveling with her husband, and gardening. To receive the award, Kevin. Thank you for coming, Kevin. I don't think your mother wanted your brother to have this.
One of my jobs during the college career summers was working for the Redevelopment Authority, and Frances, that's when I first met her. I had known her kids because I grew up with her kids, played sports with her kids, especially Eugene, who was my age. But this is a great honor for her. She was, without a doubt, a paver. She had a lot of jobs, but she was also a paver.
Yeah.
She paved the way for many other black residents to enter politics, such as Bill Houston and Al Jones. And I think that was really important. She really lit up the room when she walked into a room, and you didn't mess with her. She could stand her own ground.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Mr. Pinnabone.
Thank you, Mayor. The next one is Mr. Herman Swint. We asked the Swints not to bring the whole family, so we had room for everybody. I have some information on Mr. Herman Swint from Mr. Michael Swint. Herman M. Swint was born in 1926 in Chicago and raised in Easton, Pennsylvania. He was one of 5 children born to Tobias and Anna Swint. He attended Easton schools from grade school to high school and joined the United States Navy around 1944, serving as a World War II veteran. He married Evangeline Cookie Groves, and together they had 7 children, 6 boys and 1 girl. 3 of the boys graduated from Lafayette College. After his military service, Herman worked in various industries before starting Tobias Swint Hauling and Disposal Service with his father around 1950. The garbage disposal company serviced Easton and the surrounding areas, and all of Herman's sons worked in the business while growing up. 2 of his sons continue to run the business today, although one is semi-retired. Without fact-checking, one might say this is the longest-running black-owned business in the Valley. Now, Mr. Swint, I tried to check that out, and I couldn't get confirmation, but everybody I spoke to said they think it is the longest business in the Lehigh Valley, and it's definitely the longest one in the city of Easton. So thank you very much. If you want to come forward for your certificate.
Nice job, Michael. Mr. Swint and my father were very good friends, and Mr. Swint bought a house on the 600 block of Folk Street, and he was on my paper route. So I saw him in the morning picking up at the store, and I saw him at night over at when I delivered papers. And he was a huge man. He had hands that were so big, but he was a gentle giant. And he was really a great guy. Mom was the best. When I delivered the papers, she always had something for me to eat. She was really good.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pinnabone. I will move on to public comments on agenda items only. If you have any agenda item that you would like to talk about, now's the time to come up, give your name and address, and you can speak for 5 minutes.
Please spell your last name as well.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Dominic Trabossi, Trabosci. I live on 5th Street. I'm once again here to support Bill 61 to make marijuana possession a summary offense. I will reiterate once again that I think this is a common sense bill that will prevent the good people of this city from having the rest of their lives affected from being stopped from marijuana possession. I would like to think that it is not in this council's interest to exacerbate things that keep us, the people of Easton, down. A drug record is something that can keep a person from future employment, house buying opportunities, and more. You would help mitigate the likelihood of somebody missing out on these things by passing this bill. This also means less paperwork for our police force, who can spend more time addressing actual dangerous crimes instead of petty things like this. This bill isn't setting the law on marijuana, and trust me, I wish we had that power. This is merely lessening the punishment. I ask that you please retire this leftover experiment from the failed war on drugs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Susan?
Hi, my name is Susan Hartraff Bittinger, and I'm just here today to actually reiterate what this gentleman just said. Decriminalization of this amount of marijuana is the right thing to do for our people of the city of Easton. It is still will be illegal, but for the small amount that we are discussing here, it would be a fine. And why ruin people's lives? who knows today what you're going to end up doing tomorrow? And I say that in years. You're a young person and you decide that you want to do something real with your life. That one thing on your record could ruin your opportunity to do that thing that you then dreamt about. So I'm asking today to please vote yes to the bill. Thank you.
Hi, Joe Welsh, Lehigh Valley Justice Institute, West Ward resident. I guess with the discussion between council members Pintabone and Brown last meeting, maybe I should introduce myself as an old guy for weed. We do exist. Anyway, I set out the reasons why this ordinance should be approved. It has to do with the history of the war on drugs, the racial nature of that history, and also the fact that screwing around with these minor marijuana charges diverts resources from law enforcement and the courts. But I did want to clear up one matter that was in the discussion at our last meeting, which is this notion that should you decide to vote for this ordinance tonight, that somehow officers would feel free to ignore that fact and continue to enforce the state law. You are the governing body of the city of Easton. You set the policy of the city of Easton. So once that becomes the policy of the city, then the officers of the city of Easton implement that city policy. That's how it works. And to have a situation where that's not the case takes us back to the long, dark history of this department. And I think back to Good Friday on 2005. And I'm sure a number of you on council will remember that day. That is the day that Officer Jesse Solomon was tragically shot by another officer in the Easton Police Department. And that became the catalyst for a just tremendous amount of reform and progress that has been made by leaders like Mayor Panto and Chief Scalzo, where we have a fully accredited department. We have a department based upon policy. We have a department that implements city policy. And so the notion that somehow we're going to have rogue officers, that just really needs to be disabused because, frankly, it insults the fine department that we have now, and it harkens back to those days when we had a department that was not accredited and was not showing the professionalism this department shows. So I just wanted to clarify that item, and then for all of the other reasons that other people have said and that I said at the last meeting, please pass this ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Julie Zondo Dennis, 1032 Lehigh Street, Easton. I just want to agree with everything that's been said before and just make a point. Dr. Ruggles last time when this issue came up talked about how the police would be in some way abrogating their oath to the state by not penalizing people who for marijuana use. And of course there is a penalty here. It's just a reduced penalty. It's not making marijuana use legal. But I wanted to precisely address his point. It's unfortunate he's not here, but when marijuana laws are enforced in a racially discriminatory manner, such as Black Pennsylvanians being nearly 4 times more likely to be arrested for possession than white residents, despite similar usage rates, this constitutes a violation of equal protection under Pennsylvania's Constitution, Article 1, Section 26, which guarantees that no citizen shall be denied equal protection of the laws. Marijuana convictions often lead to fines, job loss, housing instability, and barriers to education, consequences that disproportionately affect low-income and minority individuals. This arguably violates the spirit of Pennsylvania's constitutional protections for civil rights and equal opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm DJ Brad Scott. I live at 1324 Spring Garden. And first I just want to thank you all, the mayor, Panto, Councilman Frank Pinto, Crystal, for such a helpful...
Hold on, Pentabone, you didn't finish.
Pentabone, I'm sorry, but I get like... I DJ for a living, so I'm really comfortable out here when I have like turntables and music in front of me, so maybe I should just bring that in next time.
You weren't comfortable last night.
You all were awesome, and thank you for making Easton Pride so good this year. I mean, for our inaugural one, it ran so smoothly, and the police, everybody was so effective, and so it just means a lot. It's very overwhelming. So, but to get to the order at hand, too, as a sober person and somebody who doesn't use drugs, it may seem kind of weird that I'm here to say you should pass this ordinance, too. But I think that, excuse me. So because this conversation is not about personal use, it's about justice and it's about equity and it's about how our systems affect the lives of our residents. So especially young people and communities of color. So the facts around marijuana are no longer up for debate. The science is clear and the tide has shifted across this country. So we're seeing it legalized and decriminalized in cities and states nationwide. I mean, you go across the bridge and it's legal over there. So it just doesn't make sense that we would criminalize it here. So the minor charges, small possessions, we're not talking about trafficking, can derail a person's entire life. So a simple weed charge can keep somebody from the job. All these things were said before, so I hate to beat a dead horse, but the point is that it's just going to strip away sort of opportunities from people over a joint or some insignificant amount of something that is legal so many other places. So it doesn't mean that I'm encouraging use of marijuana, but it's just stopping the punishment of people. That's something the data and the rest of the country has shown does not deserve criminal penalties. So anyways, I just hope you pass this ordinance.
Well said.
Thank
Thank
you.
Hey Council, this is Nicholas Martens. Once again, you guys have heard me spoke quite a few times here regarding this ordinance. And I want to thank you, Mr. Pittibone, for bringing this back up here. I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. Everything's already been said regarding the common sense policy that we're looking to pass here tonight. It is a matter of justice, and I think it is the right move, not only here in the city of Easton, but what's coming across the country. So regardless if we're on the right side of history tonight, which I hope we will be, it's going to happen very soon here, not only in the city, but definitely in the country. There's growing movement in support of this natural plant. So it's already been said, it's clear that we're not legalizing here. We're not encouraging, further use of the plant, but we're stopping those who might be consuming a natural plant from being hindered for the rest of their lives with a criminal charge. So Mr. Panto, I would like to have you deeply reconsider your position as well, considering I know from my understanding previously you were concerned about people coming here to consume more and to light up, and it might be, a factor there. Well, with this ordinance, it's actually going to further, as you know, increase the fine for people smoking in public. So whether or not this passes, I mean, I didn't smell anything tonight, but definitely walking down, I've smelled marijuana here in the city of Easton, so it's going to happen. But again, you have the chance to be on the right side of history tonight, so I hope you do deeply reconsider. I know you've received numerous emails and letters after the last vote to bring this back up to a vote, so hopefully that doesn't go unheeded. And more or less, my message tonight is for Ms. Sultana. I've been here since the beginning, and I was here in the very beginning when you yourself said that you don't think anybody should be charged even a cent if they were charged with this plant. And I think what happened during the last vote was a mistake, and I I'm not really sure why your vote was abstained. It wasn't quite clear. I think there was a lot of misinformation out there. But since that has been totally cleared up, I do implore you to do the right thing here. The people of the city of Easton are watching. We have numerous people that have gathered in support today and compared to the past. So this will be all public record with this vote, and I just hope that you do the right thing and you stick with your word. When you said you didn't think anybody should even be charged for this plant, it's not even dangerous at all. There's no reason why it shouldn't pass. So I implore you guys to do the right thing tonight, and I hope this ordinance passes.
Mr. Nicholas, you forgot to give your address.
Okay, my name is Nicholas Martens. I'm a resident of Bethlehem at 444 West 3rd Street, formerly of Palmer Township. Thank you.
Melody Rogers, 710 West Berwick Street, Easton, PA. I am just the opposite. I want to give an example of what I experienced. I went to the Beach Boys concert, and I volunteer on the corner to make things safe for people, for the elderly people to come over. And what I experienced was, believe it or not, a lot of elderly people who were going to see this wonderful concert. But they were walking down Northampton Street, and they had people that were smoking, and the smell was atrocious. And all they kept saying was, I don't want to be around these people. I have this smell on me now. I don't think it's fair that they would be smoking out in public, especially walking by these people. They had a lot to say, and they were very upset about that. I also have experienced walking my granddaughter, who's 8 years old, down Northampton Street. We were going to an event, and these guys were walking by smoking a joint. And I just looked over like, oh my God, you're in public. Of course, there was no officers around because they were busy probably doing other things. And I immediately crossed the street to get her away from that. I don't want my 8-year-old granddaughter to be smelling pot. I think it's rude. I don't think people should be doing it in public. You can do it in your own privacy of your own house. You can do it in your car. You can do it at your friends. I really don't care. But do I think it should be in public? No. I don't think people should smell this bad walking, and you can't help it. But I mean, I don't think these people who are elderly that come to see a show should have to put up with the smell of pot all around them, and then they keep smelling it all over them. So I am against it to be publicized, but that's purely my opinion, and I did say that I told these people that I was going to pass it on to the city council. Okay, thank you.
Mayor. Ms. Rogers, I just want to mention one thing. Currently, if one of those individuals were arrested that night, our Northampton County judges would have seen them. They would have got a $25 fine. So I'm sure you're aware that if this resolution passes, that person's fine would be $150. So we're actually increasing the punishment. What we're not doing is we're not trying to ruin people's lives from that. So that's it. So I just want to make everybody aware we're not promoting outside smoking. We're offering more of a punishment if you are smoking outside. So I would think you would support it because $25 isn't much. We're increasing it to $150, $250, and then $350 on your third offense.
And also, I wanted to bring this up too. I mean, just because somebody has a pot record, no matter how little it was or whatever, and they got caught with it, they're still going to get hired for a job. And also, you can have a felony and still get hired for a job because there's a list online that you can get. They hire felonies. Our president is a felon, and he's the president of the United States. But I'm saying there are people out there that hire felons. It's just everybody gets a second chance. I mean, it is what it is, and thank God they're eligible to do that.
Right.
But
thank you.
It's just the idea that I just wanted to put that out there and
it.
say my word.
And after the meeting or during, if you'd like to speak to the gentleman right next to the chief, he's the head of the Lehigh Valley Justice Institute. He'll explain to you that people don't get jobs for that drug conviction on their record, or financial aid, or student housing, or apartments. So he can explain it better than I can because that's his life's work. But thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Anyone else like to address City Council on agenda items? All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. There's no consent agenda, no reports received by council. We'll go right into reports of committees. Vice Mayor Brown, Finance Committee.
We have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Economic Development Committee, Mr. Pinnabone.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. 1 second, please. I just lost it. Here we are. So the Department of Community and Economic Development has completed planning for the DCED co-sponsored event, LVCC Easton Commercial Open House. It will take place Friday, June 13th from 1 to 5:30 p.m., where realtors and other invested parties will be able to tour a lot of our open commercial spaces. Not a lot, we don't have many, but our open real estate here in the city. 613 from 1 to 4 at the public market and various finalized. I don't know what he wrote here. Let me go to number 2. We're going to continue work with the Hologram Zoo to complete approvals and renovations. The tentative grand opening for the Hologram Zoo is scheduled for July 15th. We completed work with the Planning Committee on the Winter Village 2026 application. An application round was officially opened. Business recruitment. Onboarded new intern working on commercial vacancy analysis and business recruitment strategy. They also developed initial realtor-informed commercial vacancy database for the 4 districts of the city and updated Zoom prospector accordingly. Grants submitted. Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. New swing for Scott Park for $1,871, which would be matched by United Way grant funds to do the same. This is a quick win project for the waterfront plan. Grow Norco on behalf of the State Theater. $6,000 for feasibility for the former grocery space, matched by $3,334 that was verbally reported to be in city funds from next year's budget. Grow Norco for the city, $48,713.33 for construction-ready plans and lighting strategy for Scott Park, renovations as captured in a waterfront plan, requiring a 1-to-2 match of whatever we are awarded. Watershed Rehabilitation and Preservation Program, WRPP, $210,000 for the completion of the MS4 projects, matched with $52,500 from the MS4 funds. Mayor, tonight on the agenda, I have the marijuana legislation, decriminalization, as well as Bill number 62, Landlord Tenant Training Engagement Program. Also, this past week, I attended with you the firefighters' graduation from the academy. It was a really good event. I'm very proud of all of our firefighters, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Pinnabone. Planning and Codes Committee, Councilmember Rose.
Thank you, Mayor. The next zoning board meeting will be held next week, Wednesday, June 16th at 6 p.m. The agenda is out on the city's website. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the Planning Commission meeting was canceled for June as there were no agenda items. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 2nd at 6:30 p.m., where we expect to see the Wood Avenue warehouse developers back for decision. I have talked to our city administrators, so we will have someone from the tech department on hand for any overflow to deal with any audio or visual issues that we had at the last meeting. Council has received a letter from Easton resident Josh Gaffney, who's here tonight. He represents a coalition of concerned citizens advocating for the immediate zoning reform within the city's adoptive reuse districts. Council received the letter. I forwarded it to our solicitor, Shear, and as well to Dwayne Tillman, our Director of Planning and Codes. He will be coming up during the public comment section of the meeting tonight. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Dr. Ruggles.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 things. One, I would like to thank council for putting up with me tonight on the phone. I'm currently taking my last class for my Master's of Divinity degree, and unfortunately, it was all day in Philadelphia, so that's where I am. The other thing I would like to just inform council is that our next meeting, the 4th Wednesday in June, I will not be present, nor will I be at the committee meetings before that, if there are any, because I will be on vacation and not be able to communicate back here. So just letting everybody know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruggles. Mr. Enninger, Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight. I do have, however, 4 resolutions that I'll be moving.
Okay. Administration Committee, Councilmember Sultana.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I have 4 resolutions approving The first one is approving a service agreement with Author.net. The City of Easton is transitioning its garage permits management system from T to UP Safety to Zephyr to streamline administrative operations and reduce manual updates with Flash PARCS. The Authorized.net all-in-one plan includes $25 monthly gateway fee, a transaction processing rate of 2.9%, digital invoicing for easy customer payments, and advanced fraud detection suite to manage suspicious transactions and recurring payment options. The second resolution is approving agreement between the City of Easton and Zephyr. As I said, the City of Easton currently uses the UP safety system with offer customers a portal with limited access. When a customer updates their information, staff must manually enter these changes into the Flash PARC system. So the proposed agreement with Zephyr will provide an enhanced portal that integrates directly with Flash PARCS, reducing administrative workload and eliminating the need for manual updates. The agreement with Zephyr will provide us with the services. The third resolution is mere approving the addition of job description for the position of Chief Health Administrator, Health Inspector. The job of the officer will include reporting the Director of Planning and Development and Board of Health. This position oversees the operation of the Bureau of Health, managing staff who perform field service, inspections, and reporting. The role ensures compliance with all relevant health regulations, submits required documentation, including annual reports, to the Pennsylvania Department of Health, and communicates findings to the appropriate board of agencies. The fourth resolution approving salary and wages for Chief Health Administrator, Health Inspector. This resolution mentioned the salary of explained job description of Chief Health Administrator. It will be $77,000 per year. Besides those resolutions, I'd like to give an update on our Affordable Housing Task Force organization, Home Easton. The Home Easton is in discussion contracting with LMS, Learning Management System. The contract will be covered for the first year by the Eastern Redevelopment Authority and transferred to Home Easton at the beginning of the next second year. It is basically an interactive platform that landlord can use to create an app. Also a sharing platform to allow networking between landlords. There is the potential for lending products to use the improved interior or exterior for buildings. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Sultana. Mayor's report, I just want to mention that we do have some movement, nothing concrete, but the CVS building on the south side is a very large building, and we have some interest in it. Obviously, we'd love to have a drugstore back again, but we do have one at Community Health Partners. I was on a Zoom call yesterday with over 200 mayors in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and it was primarily about the No Kings rallies that are happening across the country. We have one planned for 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. We had Mayor Bass was on the Mayor of Los Angeles was on the call, and it was very informative, and the federal troops that were sent in actually have made it worse. And as we know, locally here is the same thing. The tiller is in, the firefighter, the $1.7 million hook and ladder, as my age group knows. The tiller is being housed, and right now training is being done on the tiller, and the new pumper is due in 3 years. Heritage Day has been moved from Sunday to Saturday. That is put on by the Greater Eastern Development Partnership. It is, they had a press release that talks about the fireworks may not happen. I don't know where that happened. I don't know where they got that from. What they should have said was that the location will be different. Now, the VFW launched the fireworks from Hackett Park for 50 years. And the JCs did it with Community Spirit Day. And nobody had a problem. But last year I got a lot of pushback. So we are moving the location. We're not telling anybody where the location is. But it should be seen from the entire city area, more so than the suburbs. In Sun and Wilson. And I just want to mention that this past week, 47 years ago, you may remember where you were the night that Larry won the championship, the heavyweight championship. champion of the world. Larry is going to bring back his Kids Day, which we're really excited about. When he was champ, he used to have a Kids Day where every kid got a T-shirt, and they had to run with the champ. I don't think they'll do that anymore, but
I won that.
you won that?
I won that.
Well, I don't think that he's going to run.
I don't remember it, Mayor.
Oh, I know all about Mr. Pinnabone. You weren't born.
I don't either.
Crystal and I weren't born. We apologize.
And today I attended the Delaware River Basin Commission met in Easton at Nurture Nature, and I welcomed them to the city. You know, they basically oversee the Delaware River and the Delaware River Basin and the Lehigh River as well, which drains into the Delaware. And I also was up there again this afternoon in Nurture Nature for the groundbreaking for their planetarium. And, you know, in 2008, we knew that we needed another, at least one more tourist attraction in addition to Crayola Experience. And we have the hologram zoo, now we have the planetarium and the State Theater, and even Lafayette College brings in about 100,000 people a year to visit their campus and see if they want to go there. The planetarium should be done sometime by the end of next year, and it'll open in either the spring or fall, or spring or summer of 2027. It's going to be put on the back of that area, so it's still in the 500 block of Northampton Street, and it is really awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be another attraction that'll attract people to our city who will spend money in our city, and we do get an amusement tax from them, so a 5% amusement tax from them and Crayola and all the home games at Easton Area High School. We appreciate that money that comes in every year. It saves our taxpayers, our residents, some money. I believe that's it. Mr. Shear, do you have any comments?
I have lots of comments, but I'll keep them to myself. I have no other report.
Nothing to report?
No.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Paul.
Mr. Shearer and Mr. Clark and I met this morning, and we talked a lot about the warehouse. So that meeting is coming up, and I hope people come out for it.
And just to be clear, the discussion wasn't on the merits, it was on the procedure and et cetera.
Wasn't on any of the merits. It was on the procedure. You're right. I should have mentioned that. Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Campos is on vacation. He's in Paris. So we'll go right to
Unfinished business.
the correspondence. There's no correspondence. We'll go right to unfinished business, Madam Clerk.
Bill number 60, an ordinance adding addendum to the hologram zoo ordinance number 5895.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. This is basically a resolution, a bill that's just going to extend the lease to the term of their loans. The lease was not covering their loan term, so they match. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Bill number 61, an ordinance adding chapter 581, marijuana decriminalization.
Motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion. I would like to say, Nick, just to reiterate what you said, my problem is not the intent of this ordinance. My problem is that it's in direct violation of the state law that governs this. I agree with everything about it that Mr. Pinnabone is recommending. I do believe that if there was a resolution resolving to notify the state legislature of our intent, that it should be, I think it's going to be legalized next budget session anyway, but I think we're a year ahead of time. But I have a hard time sitting up here and putting in an ordinance, a city law that's in direct violation of the state law, and giving our police chief and his men and women of the department the decision whether they're going to file under city or state. And I agree with Joe Welsh about that a city law should supersede the state. But unfortunately, the state doesn't see it that way. So that's my reasoning, and I will be voting against this, as I said to Mr. Pinnabone all along. But I agree with the intent.
And I'm going to be voting no for the reasons that I've stated over and over again. I'm glad that the Chief is here this evening because there were some things said that I wanted to hear from you, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. Chief Carl Scazza, City of Easton Police Department, 48 North 4th Street. You have a specific question?
I also, oh,
Go ahead, Roger.
okay. I also agree with the intent of this law, but I just feel like that this is not the way of settling this. The way of settling it is at the state level, and I don't think cities should bypass whatever the state has by passing local ordinances. And secondly, as I recall, there were only 6 citations for small amounts of marijuana last year issued by our police department. And all 6 of those were in association with a totally separate stop, whether it was a traffic stop, there was one that was a drug bust. And so this is not something where the police department, and some of the comments, you know, this is discriminatory. All of the issues in our city were based upon something else that happened. And secondly, because of that, it's not changing the amount of police work, paperwork that the police are doing. They would still be doing that same amount of paperwork as they did in every case last year. So, you know, those particular arguments I don't think carry a lot of weight. But I do very much agree with the fact that we shouldn't penalize people. But again, I don't think we should go against the state. So I will also be voting no on this.
Councilman Ruggles, if I may just respond. First of all, Mayor, I did speak to our representatives. As you're aware, the House passed legalization with Representative Bob Freeman a few weeks back. The Senate, it died in the Senate due to party lines. However, I did speak to our senator who said she supports this decriminalization bill as she does legalization. So I did reach out to our representatives. They are aware. Councilman Ruggles, I do have a question for you. You mentioned about the paperwork and other things. You've been on council for 17 years?
That's correct.
17. You've been public safety liaison for many of those years, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Do you believe that not one person was observed smoking marijuana in the city of Easton in 2024? There was no weed smoking in 2024. We never had an opportunity to make arrest. No, never happened in the whole year in the city of Easton. Do you believe that?
Well, I believe that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. That's a hypothetical. I mean, the probability is high that there wasn't. I mean, there was someone that was, you know, smoking, but I don't know. It's an unknown.
Okay, that's all.
Chief, thank you for coming, first of all. And I know this has been an ongoing process as we try to fill our way through the situation. I, too, agree with most people in reference to, I wish there was a way around this when it comes to our children. But unfortunately, we don't have that power, that state level. My question to you is this, Councilman Penamone has stated that he's spoken some time ago to our officers who are somewhat for this. And I personally never heard the officer say that, and I don't know if I would even go up to an officer and ask them that, because in my opinion, is a conflict of interest for me to ask an officer what his duties would be in that situation. The other thing that came up was that you would have to retrain your officers if this resolution was passed. I'd like to have your opinion on that.
Sure. You know, obviously, I know I stand in this room tonight as in the minority, but I, you know, in my heart, after 32 years in this profession, even though I'm in the minority, I don't think that I'm wrong. But I don't need to reiterate all of my concerns as to what I fear this type of process can cause. It's the first time that I've ever experienced some sort of process or law put in place that contradicts some other law that I now have to kind of manage. I've never had to deal with this before. And so when you speak about retraining, the reality is this, is that the state law is still on the books. And although I agree with Mr. Welsh when he says that you have the authority to put in place an ordinance, what you don't have is the authority to remove a law. You cannot remove that law, and you cannot remove the enforcement of that law by any specific entity that has the authority to enforce it. Whether it's us, whether it's a district attorney, whether it's any other entity that has that authority. So that gets a little confusing. And for any lack of clarity on my part, I do apologize, because I did watch council last meeting and I did see some of the concerns as to what I said and how I said it. I think both of you are right. I definitely did say I don't think there's a world where every single time we come across possession, many times we do drug raids where there's all kinds of drugs, including small amounts of marijuana, and we'll charge a misdemeanor. Many times it's driving where somebody's impaired, and it's very, very challenging at this moment in time to determine.
Portion of it.
It's very difficult at this moment in time to prove somebody's impaired under marijuana, other than the physical testing and things like that. They're still working on the blood concentrates and things like that, but marijuana stays in your system much longer, and they struggle to say, like with alcohol, that there's a BAC that makes you impaired.
Right.
So we're still struggling with those things. So many times when we have individuals who are driving, who we believe through our probable cause is impaired, we'll charge the misdemeanor as well there. So the challenge for me if this were to go through, and then again, I stand here and hope that it does not, the challenge for us as a department is going to determine, first of all, how do we enforce this and utilize this ordinance in a way that is not disparaging to any individual or any specific entity within the city as we enforce the laws. So that's going to be the first thing, to make sure that whatever we do is uniform across the board. We also want to make sure that it's going to be, that's going to work for the city. Like I said, for the 14 years that I've been your chief, my entire goal will be and it will always be to protect the citizens of the city the city, and to make sure that they are always safe, but also to make sure quality of life in the city continues to be that which brings people in and people want to be here. One of the things I would say in reference to the smoking, it's very challenging when individuals smoke. When we go and we stop somebody, there's a detention there, a Fourth Amendment seizure of their person, and to do that, we have to have probable cause to stop them and to hold them, or at least reasonable suspicion to basically detain them in that manner. And just the smell of marijuana and somebody smoking something can be very challenging for officers to be able to walk up and say, "What are you smoking? Give me that." To test that, to try to find all that out while you're detaining an individual. The whole process is a lot more challenging than I think most would realize. But there is really only three reasons. And I think everybody, whether they're in favor of this or not, there's only three reasons someone's going to possess marijuana. One is to have it with them so that they can smoke it whenever they get a chance, in a bar, at a festival, in an alley somewhere.
Or when they get home.
Well, hang on, there's three reasons. That's the first one, is to smoke it whenever they get a chance. The second is to transport it from wherever they got it to their house so they can smoke it there. And then the third is to deliver, sell, give to somebody else. It's only three reasons someone's going to possess it. And so for us to try to, figure out what they're intending to do with it, in those moments is again, very, very challenging. So the confusion is, again, like Dr. Ruggles and I think Councilman Brown, like you said, there's probably going to be instances where people are going to assume that, hey, I just got caught with a small amount, I'm definitely going to get this or that. And I don't know that there's any world where that's always going to happen. So they may be expecting one thing and get something else. But that said, Councilman Pittibone, you were also correct, where I did say that if it does pass, I'll look at it, go through it, find out what works best for the city and how we can best utilize it, and try and hope that my fears of the mitigation of consequence when it comes to marijuana, I hope that it doesn't increase frequency in the city. I hope it doesn't increase people's thought that it's now legal. We actually have already had one arrest where someone said, "I thought you legalized it." And so those things are all worrisome to me. But as I try to be glass as half full, the thought would be, as this goes through, it does set a precedent for for contradicting state law. And then my hope would be, if they do legalize in the state, we would keep this in place, and then we could be a city where we would at least have, to your point, Mr. Pittibone, when we're not trying to encourage it, that would definitely help us keep weed smoking out of the city. So you could potentially keep that in place, because if we're going to contradict, then we could do it that way as well. So, and we spoke on the phone a little bit about that.
Thank you, Chief.
I feel that we have the opportunity to do what's right. So I urge everyone to vote for this bill. I don't feel that the punishment fits the crime. I think it's, I am in support of this bill. I will vote yes tonight. I think increasing the fine does what a lot of people say that they want. I think it will help deter public smoking. But I can't have it on my conscience, again, I said this at the last meeting, that someone has a record that prevents them from living a full life for just something that I can't believe we're still talking about. I think we also have to prepare for legalization in the state. It's coming whether we like it or not. So let's get ahead of it and do the right thing.
Mayor, if I may, I just want to, address quickly, shift a little bit to Councilman Brown's comment that me speaking to police officers was a conflict of interest.
That's for me.
Right. I just don't understand how we could legislate anybody and not have any contact or any discussion with the people on the ground doing the work, pushing the legislation we're moving. I do speak to our police officers, our firefighters, our public works, our water department guys, our people in City Hall. My question to them was, am I causing you a hardship by doing this? And they said, absolutely not. It makes sense. I respect our chief. He's done an amazing job. But when I talk to 17 other departments, 2 district attorneys, county judges, police officers, and numerous other people, it's telling me that they're not having the issues that we think might happen anywhere else. So I did talk to police officers, because what was told to me at one point was some of the officers are a little upset with me, and I'm causing them, I could cause them an undue burden or what have you. So I asked them clearly, is there anything I need to know? Would you rather we didn't? Tell me your opinion. These are the people on the ground. These are the people that are actually dealing with it. And they said, no, we support it. We have 2 hours of paperwork, and I spend my day off in court just to give somebody a sentence that's going to carry for the rest of their life because they're smoking a joint. So, I do my due diligence, not just outside, but home too. And that's why this is a good bill. It's equitable for everyone. And I can count to 4. So I believe we're going to be good tonight.
Before we move on, I just want to state one thing, and I just want to make sure that it's understood, because I do hear a lot of conversation about how this is not a big deal, and it's a blessing that people haven't had to see the things that over the course of a career that I've seen. But always remember that to possess marijuana, because it's not legal in this state, somebody had to sell it to them. And I can name many. The individual in Bethlehem who was burned and thrown in a dumpster, 100% over a marijuana drug deal that went bad. The kid up here at the laundromat, 100% over a drug deal, marijuana that went bad. So you just have to remember that to possess it, someone has to sell it to them. And for someone to sell it to them, it runs into issues of territory, it runs into issues of gang wars, it runs into all of the things that we worked for the last, in my case now, 27 years to try to eradicate here in the city. So I just want, again, I hate the conversation being, this is just no big deal. I'm not saying that someone to sit in their house and smoke, but you just have to remember that it doesn't just show up there automatically. It's illegal in the state of Pennsylvania, and because it is, someone has to sell it to them. And when that happens, then all of the things that go around with drugs, all the violence and all that is still present. I know that it's marijuana, but that is a big drug dealing moneymaker when it comes to territories and things like that. And over the course of my career, like I said, many times I've seen where solely the sale of marijuana, that's what it was over, a drug rip over marijuana turns deadly and it can become dangerous. So again, I'm not trying to rain on everybody's parade here. I'm just trying to offer from my experience what I think is the best thing for the city. And again, so.
And I appreciate you, Chief, and I agree, and I unfortunately know the young man that was burnt in Bethlehem. But as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, I do think times have changed. We don't have to go to Delaware Terrace anymore to buy a bag of weed. You go across the Free Bridge and buy it at the store.
So have a medicinal card.
No.
No, no,
No,
you don't need a
you can
medicinal
walk
card
in
to
there
buy
right
it.
now and buy it.
And you can go, Mayor.
And the Pennsylvania plates, and I've seen my neighbors and coworkers in line when I drive home from work.
Right.
That line is around the block. You know, we're really missing out on the tax dollars.
And
I think that many people, I would agree with you, are going right over the bridge. You could walk there in less than 10 minutes right now.
as far
And
as
walk
gang
back.
wars and like the issue in Bethlehem, tragic. They were talking about pounds of marijuana. There's not many gang wars or territory disputes over 30 grams of marijuana. Nobody's making money on 30 grams of marijuana. You know, federal prosecutors aren't prosecuting less than pounds. So I think to say 30 grams, I think we're fear mongering a little bit. But I think this is my opinion, Chief. I agree with you. We've talked for hours about this. Yeah. So I value your opinion. We just disagree on this one. So
And to the point of the dispensaries, because of the cost, there will always be a black market for marijuana, and people will go there who can afford to go there. But even over there, even when people stand in line, people are trying to sell them at reduced costs. And again, in today's day and age, you don't know what you're getting a lot of times in some of this marijuana. So, but I'm sorry, but you haven't seen what I've seen, or you don't know. If you know the chief or you know the officers over there, so you
hold on.
you disagree.
It's not public
don't
comment.
Say I'm lying.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. It's all right. Thank you.
So I want to say something. I worked with a nonprofit organization a couple of years ago, and that organization was voting rights organizations. And my job as a director was to go places to places, prison to prison, basically, and in the marginalized community to make sure they're registered to vote. A lot of people were not aware of that they cannot vote because they were incarcerated before. And most of the reason that I heard from them was a small amount of marijuana. So as you all know, I have supported this bill since day one, and even before it was brought to the council. I know I had to abstain last time, but changing from a criminal record to a summary offense is to remove the barrier for people of color, for minorities who often are targeted more for drug law violations, so at a disproportionate rate. That being said, I'm going to break the tie today. I'm going to support, and I will be voting all day.
Roll call.
Anything else, Mr. Pinnabone?
No, sir.
Any other questions for the chief? I made him come tonight, so I want to make sure he gets.
Get his money worth.
Okay.
No, it's roll call.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm going to do roll call right now.
Thank you. Dr. Ruggles?
No.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
No.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Yes.
And Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
It passed.
Move on.
Bill number 62, an ordinance amending Chapter 456, Landlord-Tenant Engagement Program.
Motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion.
Mayor, I emailed, I'm just introducing for the record, but I emailed the council members yesterday, I believe. As many of you know, when I brought this a few months ago, there was some contention between myself and the Greater Lehigh Valley Association of Realtors that went back and forth in here and out there. But in my hand, I hold, and I sent the email to everyone, that the Greater Lehigh Valley Realtors Association believes that Bill number 62 appears to be a great approach to incentivize landlords and property owners, managers to collaborate with the city of Easton. So they're on board, and I hope everybody else will be as well. It's a great step to bridging gaps between our landlords and our tenants to build a stronger city.
Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Bill number 63, an ordinance amending Article 3, traffic control map of Chapter 560 vehicles, traffic and Code of the City of Easton.
So moved.
Second. Sorry.
Moved in second discussion. We had a committee meeting on this 2 weeks ago. I think all the questions are answered. Except for Dr. Ruggles had a question about a left-hand turn lane. When they looked at it, Dr. Ruggles, there wasn't enough room for a left turn lane, and for the public, we get chastised sometimes because we are a commonwealth, which means we're a product of the state. We got to listen to state laws. So right now at 4th Street, we have through traffic coming south and a left-hand turn lane would be in conflict with one another. So PennDOT wouldn't approve that. And we have the same problem at 13th Street and Bushkills Drive, where we made a left turn lane instead of a right turn lane, and people are wondering why we did that. Well, we didn't do it. PennDOT did it. It's not a PennDOT street, but they still regulate that you can't have coming west, the straight going, and then at the other side, you had a person making a left-hand turn coming into conflict with one another, and they wouldn't approve that. So this is taking care of a load-unload zone because 401 Northampton Street became an apartment building instead of offices. Roll call.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Under new business, we have a resolution approving a lease agreement between the City of Easton and Miss Melanie Yoga LLC.
So moved.
The only thing I would like, and I know that the staff reviewed this, but I talked to the solicitors at the solicitors meeting this morning, and we wanted to add indemnification. The city, whenever we rent anything, whenever we have a food vendor come in, we want to make sure that we're indemnified should something happen on one of those paddle boards. If there's a drowning, for example, I hate to say that, but we wouldn't want to protect the city that we are indemnified. It's not our activity. When it's our activity, we have to indemnify. We can't indemnify ourselves. So I would like Mr. Scheer to review that before it's approved.
Yeah, I know that Mr. Clark worked on this last version. I had worked on an earlier one, and I believe there's insurance required.
Oh, there's insurance required, yes.
Because
$2 million, I think.
Yeah, and frankly, my observation is that indemnification is virtually meaningless, and that's why you need the insurance, because the underlying LLC, let's say, is going to get sued, and if their insurance isn't good enough to cover us, certainly the indemnification would be of no value.
Okay, as long as you're happy with it.
Well, I would hope they get releases, and we're always going to be on the city itself is always going to be under responsibility to maintain whatever we're supposed to maintain. So I would hope that whatever activities we're allowing them to conduct on our land, that there's some oversight and that we do our job in making sure that the land, whatever, is safe. But we certainly can't control the flow or how she operates her business, and we wouldn't be held responsible for that. That's the only observation I'm making. That's why we probably never did have an indemnification. And there are limitations of liability built into this too.
Now, we approved this
But why?
last year.
Right. This is just a renewal. My understanding is a
Right.
renewal.
And at the time, there was a lot of discussion about the proximity of that ramp to where the dam is. And at that time, I thought if the city needs to be concerned with that, then we need to be concerned with anybody who uses that ramp with any kind of.
That's why we're going to move it.
So
Under the waterfront design, we're moving that ramp. It's too close to the falls.
Yeah, I think that the new ADA accessible ramp that's in the waterfront plan is going to answer that question. But I have taken a kayak down there, and I mean, like, I would never go out when the water's choppy or anything like that. But I feel like that it's safe even for somebody
I call it Lehigh Lake.
Who's a beginner? Yeah, Lehigh,
'Cause it's not
Lehigh's
I'm a
so
guy.
still.
If you really get to the falls, it really doesn't have any current.
And I think it's Miss Melanie Yoga. I mean, her business, both here, the classes she's running in the city, and also at Lake Nakamixon, it's an incredible addition to the city. It's nice to have those recreational offerings and see more recreational outdoor businesses in the city. I hope we'll see more.
The one thing that I think is important for the city is that in paragraph 6 there's these affirmative obligations that the lessee has, which includes conducting certain inspections. I mean, a whole health and safety plan. So we have it in here. The question is there anyone who will actually monitor and make sure it's complied with? That's always my concern when I read agreements. There's great provisions, but unless we know there's someone actually assigned, and it's a case where, is this like $1 lease? I don't know if we could, because what we should do is, or consider if there's another renewal, if we don't have it in here, to have sufficient money to pay. Yeah, it's $1, so that we have someone who we're made whole of, who actually takes a look and says, we got that plan. It could be the Board, the Board of Health. It isn't exactly a Board of Health issue, but they're used to looking at general compliance concepts. It's just an observation for the next time around. Right. But even now, we still have, we're still operating a city and we still have people. My recommendation is have someone assigned to take a look at this and meet with the lessor and make a note, lessee, I'm sorry, and make a note that, yes, I have checked off paragraph 6 is in compliance, put it in our file so we know we did our job.
Okay.
Good
We'll do
idea.
that. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Dr. Ruggles. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Dr. Ruggles.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand why we wouldn't include an indemnification on in any contract that we have. I mean, that's just normal. I don't understand why we wouldn't do that.
Mayor, to Councilman Ruggles' point, I agree. I don't think it'd be a big deal just to add it.
We don't normally add it to the contract. We make them sign a special document that's an indemnification.
But I mean, add it with it wouldn't be a big deal for them to sign it to release us from liability. So,
well, can I just suggest, if we look at paragraph number 4, I didn't look at this again because I hadn't been asked to do so beforehand. But it says, paragraph 4, lessee for and behalf of itself, employees, contractors, agents, customers, inviting successors, et cetera, shall indemnify, defend, and hold the lessor and its officials, et cetera, et cetera.
When we get the certificate of insurance, we always ask them to.
But we have an indemnification in this agreement. That's all I'm pointing out.
And then the next section
talks
about insurance.
That's fine then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But I would point out to council, anytime you have a bill in front of you where you're relying on the indemnification, take a good look at who's indemnifying. And if you seriously want that, then start asking for the names of the principals who own the businesses and do what banks do, which gets the principal and their spouse signing these indemnifications. We probably lose a lot of business, but that's the only way it's going to mean anything, beyond making sure they have current insurance.
Okay. Roll call.
Who did the second?
Me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
And Mayor Panto?
Aye.
We have a resolution approving a service agreement with Authorize.net.
So moved.
So moved.
Roll call. Any discussion on this? Roll call.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
A resolution approving an agreement with Easton Aquatics Club and the City of Easton.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Shearer, I have the same issue with this one and the next one. We're allowing other swim teams to use our facilities because we have better facilities than they have in Nazareth and in Palmer. want to make sure that we're covered, because I don't want something tragically to happen and the city of Easton gets sued because we're the property owner. So as long as you feel that that's okay, the aquatic club is ours, so it's different, but it's not our, we have the $2 million of liability insurance, and then the paragraph 7 is the indemnification, and as long as you're comfortable with that, I'm comfortable with approving it, because I think it's great that people think our swim facilities are better than other.
Well, yeah,
Mayor,
I think
Joe,
I
has
did.
anything changed in this agreement from the ones in the past?
I don't know, because I didn't see this agreement.
No, I'm talking about as far as indemnification.
But as far as the swim team, tell me, who is the Blue Eagle swim team as a party, and how much assets are they sitting with? I mean, if there was a claim, it's useless. I mean, I don't want to conclude it's useless. Maybe they're sitting with a $5 billion endowment that we don't know about. But even if they did, they probably would hide it from us. If they had that much money, they definitely would hide it from us.
They build their own pool.
But
From Nazareth, so they might
yeah, there's no liquid assets here. No
Well,
pun intended.
This one's dealing with the Easton Aquatics Club that we're on right now.
Okay.
And there's an indemnification clause in that as well,
Yeah,
number 7.
paragraph 7.
Well, it goes back to the same thing. You look at the underlying party who's giving the indemnification, and my counsel is you could require them. Don't ever rely on them. If we have property, we should have somebody taking a look, and we don't necessarily have a duty, in the activities anyway. We have there's very limited areas that the city does not have immunity from claims,
I
depending on what
understand
it is. But
we
we are
don't have
responsible.
anybody there watching their practice.
Right, and we don't, so if it's a matter of conducting their operations, that's going to be their responsibility. If it's a matter of something wrong with our land, our property, then we're exposed, because that's one of the exceptions under the Pennsylvania law that limits, that gives us immunity. And even in those laws, by the way, which is the reason why the city should never be indemnifying anyone else, because we otherwise do have limitations under state law as to how much exposure we have when we do not have a defense of sovereign immunity.
Right. Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Pinnabone.
Aye.
Ms. Rose.
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles.
Aye.
Ms. Sultana.
Aye.
Mayor Panto.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
And Mr. Ettinger.
Aye.
Resolution approving an agreement with Sweetie Mommy LLC for pool concessions.
So moved.
Second.
And just for the record, paragraph 7 has a hold harmless clause, which has indemnification in it. My cautionary note is still the same.
Who's Sweetie Mommy? Sweetie Mommy. What are her assets?
Sweetie Mommy, right.
It's Sweetie, well, it's not only Sweetie Mommy. You got to remember, it's Sweetie Mommy LLC. I mean, we deal with these big entities across the street. The Marquee. It's not owned by an individual. It's owned by a limited liability. It's owned by a limited partnership that has general partners that may be LLCs. I mean, it is so wrapped up within their projects themselves. These people are smart enough to know that this is why we got to rely on a good insurance policy, and I guess never a bond, because the indemnifications are limited unless we want to get really serious, and I don't know that we'd have anybody doing business. But it's still good to have it. I agree. That doesn't hurt to have it. Most important, though, is to make sure the insurance is in place, that somebody's monitoring to make sure we've gotten a certificate of insurance, and that the insurance company has a requirement to let us know if it ever gets canceled.
And who on staff is monitoring this currently? Who on staff is monitoring the insurance
Code
certificate?
Department.
Okay.
So
Primarily
you,
Joe
Councilwoman
Gill.
Rose.
Joe
So
Gill.
you.
No, Joe Gill would be.
Primarily Joe Gill.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Mrs. Rose.
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles.
Aye.
Ms. Sultana.
Aye.
Mayor Panto.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger.
Aye.
And Mr. Pinnabone.
Aye.
A resolution approving an agreement with Blue Eagle Swim Team and the City of Easton.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, question. Mr. Chair, is this
Yes.
Blue Eagle swim team a part of their recreation?
Am I going backwards? Because I just ran out of resolutions on my.
Yes, the one you mentioned earlier.
Earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let me say my reasoning for. Normally, if it is a recreation, they fall under their umbrella. That umbrella can travel under insurance purposes to cover us. They can cover themselves too.
Oh, if this is related, if the Blue Eagle swim team is somehow related to our recreation department.
To theirs.
To the Nazareth.
Oh, Nazareth.
We
Well,
don't
we
know
should
that.
get an insurance certificate from them.
Will be.
Okay, we will be receiving one. Okay. Right.
I mean, we should be asking for it. It requires that, and then we should be in good shape.
We will get we get insurance certificates from everyone.
Yeah, it's $2 million required under this. You know, I hate to get layers where we wind up asking to oversee their own operations, because then you're almost inviting yourself to exposure.
Yes.
But you know, it'd be nice to know that they also get releases from every participant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
A resolution approving a job description for the position of General Health Administrator to / Health Inspector.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? I would like to add the health officer to paragraph that says class definition. He doesn't just report, this person whoever gets hired doesn't just report to the Director of Planning and Codes. He also reports to the health officer, which is Mr. Gill.
This is mentioned, Mayor, in the original ordinance, in the original resolution. Let me look it back. I have to look it up. I'm sure it's mentioned.
Oh, yeah, so
The class
Okay.
definition itself says working under the general supervision of
Yeah.
Director of Planning and Board of Health.
And Board of Health, yep.
this is the job description. It should say it in the
Yeah.
job description. The hierarchy of where you answer to.
Can we attach it as an amendment?
Are you ready?
Well, you're adopting the job description.
Yeah, we're adopting the job description, which doesn't say health officer.
It says, it's a health administrator two
And health.
/ health inspector. Oh, chief health administrator two / health inspector.
Right, and he answers to the health officer, which is Mr. Gill.
He answers to the
He or
board-
she.
Yeah, technically he answers to the Board of Health, which
Right.
means the Board of Health. The Board of Health is the board is the Board of Health. It's not the health. It's not the chief health officer. So I guess if you
Okay, we'll
wanted
take
to,
care of
if you wanted to add it, I don't think it would be a substantive change, where it says to the Director of Planning and Development and the department. What do we call the health? What department is the health officer under?
Board of
Pla-
Codes.
Planning and Codes.
Planning and Codes.
Yeah, so it's probably instead of Board of Health, it'd just be in the Chief Health
Chief Health
Administrator.
One.
But our Chief Health Administrator is probably just the Chief Health Administrator, not a Roman numeral one. Or otherwise, I guess I'd be City Solicitor Roman numeral one.
Okay, we'll vote on it.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Resolution approving the salary and wage for Chief Health Administrator 2 and Health / Health Inspector.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
All right, 1 second, please.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
This time we have public comment?
No, we still gotta do the last one.
Oh,
Wages.
oh, the wages. We gotta
Okay,
amend
so,
the wage
yes,
salary
so
schedule.
we have a resolution approving the salary, wages for the city hall security unarmed.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Panto,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger,
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone,
Aye.
Mrs. Rose,
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles.
Aye.
Here's a perfect example of a state law that I don't agree with, just like the marijuana law. You are allowed to bring a weapon in the city hall. You're allowed by state law. It's an open carry law. It's an open carry state. You're allowed to bring it in because we don't have a courtroom. So that means judges are more important than all of us in this room.
They can also, we had that with your buddy, Mr. Timmons. He would bring his gun to school board meetings.
Well, we brought it here too.
Yeah. All right.
Why don't we suggest, Mr. Pintabone? You know any judges, Mr. Pintabone? Because maybe we can get the county to officially designate that this city hall chambers can be used as an ad hoc courtroom, and that would be sufficient for us to be a courthouse. And
I will do an email first thing when we leave here, and I'll copy you on it with some of the judges.
I don't know if that's all we need to get some basic.
Well, we wanted to
security.
rent Magistrate Weber the room downstairs.
Yeah.
All we need to do is put a door in it because it has to be contiguous.
Oh, okay.
So renting him that space wouldn't be legally opposed to that law. We had to have a doorway that connected the two.
Well, I don't know if that would be the. It seems bizarre that we have to look for loopholes to have
Well,
basic
sure it does.
protection.
The state doesn't want to do anything we want them to do. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Public comment, Mayor.
Public comment, I know. Public comment on anything concerning the city of Easton.
Hi, Council. Dominic Trabasi again. I would like the council to start seriously considering a welcoming city ordinance after the events that transpired in Bethlehem. For those who need a refresher, the ordinance would prevent local law enforcement from assisting in ICE raids. People are very scared right now. We do not need to be assisting this fascist regime in carrying out their racist policies. Complacency in this moment means assisting the Trump administration. It is not an option. Clearly, ICE can operate in any city regardless of if they've passed welcoming city legislation, because Bethlehem hasn't. Now is the time to unite as people and not cower in fear at the hands of authoritarianism. The moment we do that, we lose. Thank you.
Mr. Gaffney?
Thank you, Council. It's Josh Gaffney, 213 Porter Street. I'm here tonight on behalf of myself as well as a group of concerned residents. And we're concerned because we love this city really deeply. And what we want to see is development that adds long-term value to Easton and our surrounding communities. That's why we submitted this letter that you have in front of you. What we really want to see is amendments to the zoning code surrounding adaptive reuse districts. And the rationale for that is we want to give this city the maximum amount of power to ensure that development coming into these zones really makes sense, that it supports the comprehensive plan, that it's aligned with the general health, public safety, and welfare of this community, and it drives the city forward. You know, right now, there's a lot of talk about this Wood Avenue warehouse project, 1 million square feet, mega warehouse. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this project has been opposed almost universally. Mayor, you've written in opposition to it, as have our state representatives, the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, the Environmental Committee, numerous residents. This is not a project that people want. But as you yourself noted in the last city council meeting, the city doesn't pick the projects, right? The city's got a job to do when projects come to it. Got to apply the saldo, make sure zoning ordinances are met, and use proper process. And the challenge with this adaptive reuse structure is almost anything can be built there, right? It doesn't matter. It's very broad. And that's not a criticism, right? The reality is, when the zoning code was written, it was appropriate. We had these brownfields, we had these old industrial sites, and the city was still on an upswing. But that has really changed. I mean, the changes in this city in the last decade are outstanding and unbelievable. Downtown, so much more vital. We've got these newer buildings going in. We've got more businesses to serve residents. Outside of downtown, we've got the Silk Mill project. I mean, that I would stand up to any project in the nation as an example of how you do development. South Side, we've got new housing coming in. The West Ward, we're seeing more playgrounds. There's a lot of investment happening there. This is citywide. And, this is working. The idea that we're going to bring in residents, we're going to create value, we're going to create community. I can speak for my own family. My sister moved here from the Napa Valley. She settled in College Hill. She opened up the Modern Crumb here in the public market. My youngest sister, she moved here from Boston. She met her husband. They just bought a house in the West Ward. This is now a place where people come, they settle, they invest, they build community. And that's something that we have to sustain, protect, and continue to drive. And our adaptive reuse districts are incredibly important in that project. If you look at our zoning map, every single adaptive reuse district borders river corridor and green space. These are part of our environmental heritage. This is something that makes Easton unique. It's such an opportunity, sitting through and watching the presentation on the riverfront. That's a bold vision, and that's amazing. But one of the challenges is, how would that operate if you had a 100-foot tall warehouse right there, if you had a petroleum factory, if you had a chemical plant? All of those things are currently permitted by our zoning code. That's simply inappropriate. And for that reason, we're asking you to take some simple steps that council is fully empowered to take on the municipality's planning code as well as our ordinances with minimal review. Start looking at these, and we've outlined them in this letter. There's a number of uses that simply don't fit anymore. Let's remove those entirely as permitted uses. They don't need to be there. In addition, let's reduce the intensity of use by capping the maximum height of non-residential buildings to 35 feet. In the alternative, if council looks at this and says, some of these uses might be okay in certain instances, at a minimum, they should be moved to special exception use cases and coupled with strong supplemental conditions so that developers have to prove at the outset that this project can comply with our law. For example, our site-specific noise ordinances. We shouldn't be in a situation where a developer says, it'll be fine, and then we're left with a project and a nuisance that we've got to manage over the rest of our lives. This is the time for action right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of work going on building our comprehensive plan for 2027, doing that refresh. That's going to be a long consultative process, and as part of that, I'm sure there's going to be a deep zoning review. But we've really got to take care of this one right now. The Wood Ave project is in process. It hasn't been approved yet, and it's not clear that it will be. And even if it is approved, it's not clear that the developer is going to want to proceed with that in the face of rampant and strong community opposition that is only going to increase when people truly understand what this project looks like. I really encourage council to take a look at this proposal, think about it carefully, and take action now. Failing to do so really puts our city at risk. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions on this.
I really appreciate the research that you've done, and we will use this when we present our zoning code. We'd like to present the zoning recodification before we do the comprehensive plan so that we get this on the books. So I appreciate your help.
Yeah, I would just really encourage council to use every legislative tool that it has to not get bogged down in bureaucracy and being too worried about getting every stakeholder's piece of input. Because if you do this quickly right now, you really create a great deal of breathing room to then take the time to do that long process for the plan review. Really, this is something that we've got to close quickly. So thank you very much. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Well said, Josh. And I will be meeting with Dwayne Tillman, our Director of Codes and Planning next week. We're setting a date to go over your proposal. So I appreciate
Thank you very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Rosenzweig, 45 North 2nd Street, Governor Wolf Building. I'm speaking tonight as a member of the Lehigh Valley Democratic Socialists of America in solidarity with the immigrant communities of Easton and Lehigh Valley. In recent days and today, we're watching with deep alarm as militarized police and now federalized National Guard and U.S. Marines in Los Angeles violently crack down on peaceful protesters who were opposing ICE raids. Let me be clear. Those protests were a moral stand against an agency rooted in fear, division, and dehumanization, and the response from the state was to treat protesters like enemies of war. This is not some distant event. Today there was an ICE raid in Bethlehem. The escalation in LA is part of a broader pattern of repression, and it raises urgent questions for us here in Easton. What will this city do to protect its immigrant residents from the violence of ICE? And what will you do to ensure that people here can organize, protest, and resist without fear of being brutalized for doing so? We're asking this council to take real action, not symbolic resolutions, but enforceable protections. First, we call on the City of Easton to pass legislation that clearly and unequivocally limits all cooperation with ICE. Second, we demand that the city explicitly protect the right to protest ICE and any federal immigration enforcement actions in our streets, in front of government buildings, and anywhere public dissent is expressed. People have the right to organize against state violence without being met by local repression or threats of criminalization. We in DSA believe in building a society where no one lives in fear because of where they were born or where working class people, documented or undocumented, can live with dignity and self-determination. That future starts with cities like ours refusing to collaborate with agencies of racialized violence and affirming our collective right to fight back. What's happening in Los Angeles is unacceptable. What happened in Bethlehem is unacceptable. If we don't act now, we're sending a message that Easton is prepared to look the other way. We shouldn't let that happen, not quietly and not without a fight. Thank you very much.
Anyone else in the public like to address City Council? Artie? Sure.
Artie Ravitz, 144 Church Street, Easton, Pennsylvania. I'd like to give council and the public a historical background to Francis Ketchum being hired at Mohican Market. I remember 62 years ago that the NAACP Employment Committee of 7 started negotiating with Mr. Malavinsky of Mohican Market to hire the first black person downtown to check out people, because at that point, 62 years ago, there were no black people at checkout counters or serving the public. And that's the way it was in Easton. That's a historical thing, because I was there. We begged Mr. Malavinsky to hire a black checkout person, because he had most of the black economic power at downtown Easton. We let people know that despite we decided to have a picket line to persuade him to go along with to hire a black person. He turned us down for at least two months and 6 separate negotiations that Nora Cannon had with him. We decided to have a picket. The picket lasted for 4 weeks until Mr. Malavinsky, after losing 50% of his business, decided to hire Nora Ketchum. And that's the background to to her success and her constant rise in the community. Shortly after that, other stores started hiring black people because they saw the effect of this had on Easton and on Mohican Market.
The second place was the store here where dance studio is now.
Where?
Dance studio at Marie's. That was
Learners.
Close to the Palmer Club.
Learners. It was Mrs. Andrews.
Oh, all I remember is it was there one time. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. Anyone else want to address City Council?
Yes, yes, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
About what's happening at Harmony Press, because it seems like when the people moved out, the lights are on, but nobody's been around that building. Are they actually still going to put a store in there?
Well, I know that the grocery store fell through for now. I'll have somebody look into it.
Yeah, because the lights are on, but there's nobody around. I mean, even the guy that used to have the building, he still comes around and mows the grass, and he doesn't own that building anymore. But I mean, it's just kind of weird not seeing. I'm so afraid that somebody's going to break in over there because of even the lights on, but it's still an empty building, and the kids go over there and they lean up against the glass, and they're always trying to peek in there, so you never know what's going to happen. But I was just kind of curious of why nobody was over there bothering or doing anything.
Lights are on at CVS too.
Are they?
I think it's just to keep safety.
Anything on a bank yet for Southside anywhere?
We're trying.
Okay, thank you.
We need a bank in every neighborhood.
That's true.
Anyone else?
Yes,
Go ahead, good.
Mayor, I'd like to say a few words to the council, especially to those who just voted to pass decriminalization of marijuana. Council members, as we fully acknowledge the progress we have made as a local government by decriminalizing marijuana, but justice cannot be selective. If we stand for protecting one marginalized group, we must stand for all. Right now, immigrant families in our city, many of whom are also people of color, are living in fear, facing detention, separation, and systematic barriers. As we have seen this morning in South Bethlehem, just as we recognize the harm of criminalizing in drug policy, we must recognize the harm of harsh immigration enforcement. It's easy to follow trends, to act when an issue gains momentum at the state level, but true leadership means doing what's right, even when it's not the popular focus. If we believe in justice for some, we must believe in justice for all. I urge the council to support the bill that I, not introduced, but of course drafted and sent out to everybody, welcoming city bill to protect immigrants and send a clear message to our higher ups and our communities that our commitment to equity isn't conditioned on what's trending. It's rooted in the principles that no community should be left behind. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilwoman, just one question. I apologize if I missed it, but I have yet to see any resolution, ordinance, or anything from you. And I see Councilwoman Rose shaking her head in agreement. I haven't gotten anything.
We haven't had anything that has been brought to council yet.
The council, it was not introduced, but I've been trying to work everybody, and the draft was sent out to everybody back 2 months ago.
We didn't get it.
I'm not giving you a hard time. We didn't get it. I haven't seen it. And when people have been asking, and that's why I've been saying at council meetings when they speak, I keep saying publicly we haven't received anything.
So what I can do, I can forward the same email that I forwarded before, because I also had a meeting with our chief, like last month, and Mr. Campos. We discussed the ordinance, we worked on it, and Mr. Shear was given, and Mr. Campos, you were with us, right, at the meeting? No, okay. So Mr. Campos actually requested a couple of weeks to work on it, and I think it's time to move.
And you're right.
And if you don't have it, I can send you right now, because
from what
I
I'm hearing on council, that nobody's gotten it.
Yeah. I know Mr. Campos has said at the last meeting that he was here that you and him just sit down and talk about it, and that he needed a couple of weeks to look at it and dissect it before it came to committee and then to full council.
Right, but we've just never seen anything yet.
So what I can do again, I can forward you the same email that it was forwarded before, and I would be happy to answer any question. I also did the presentation.
That's what I was saying, Mr.
Right,
Kennedy,
the presentation, and the presentation was based on the same ordinance. But I would be happy to work with you if you have any question, and that's why we brought a person from ACLU when we were at the Easton Neighborhood Center. What was her name? Tara? I forgot her last name.
Last year?
No, last month. 2 months ago.
You mean at the community center?
Community center.
Not the
Yes.
neighborhood center. Okay.
Yes, community center. So Tara was there.
I do remember your presentations, but you need to present us with a bill, a resolution, ordinance in committee that we can go over. I don't have anything to look at.
As I believe it was sent out, and also as we worked with the administration, and Mayor, you had an ordinance, original copy of the final copy of the ordinance. I can forward you again, and I would be happy to address that matter since it's very important to our community. It's just hurting everybody. It's hurting everybody, and we are seeing this every day. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. That's all I have.
Mayor, and this, if that's finished, because this is something different, just the mention of Easton Area Neighborhood Center reminded me of something that which just informed the public. Tonight's meeting was supposed to be at the Easton Area Neighborhood Center. That's how it was originally advertised. So might as well announce to the public, I believe the next meeting, the last meeting in June, will be at the Neighborhood Center to fulfill the edict of being in one in the charter, called the charter of being in each community, having a whole one meeting. But just for anybody who's looking at our calendar, and it looks like we should be in city council in 2 weeks, we will be at the Easton Area Neighbor Center instead.
Southside.
They advertised that on social media.
Yeah,
She advertised it. Mayor, I have one update.
Go ahead.
Or two updates. So I reached out to Valley Health Partners, and they've agreed to, on the 21st of June from 12 to 2, do an open house of the facility for the residents. They did it with the elected officials and dignitaries. They're going to do it for the residents, so that's June 21st, 12 to 2. Also, doing this marijuana decriminalization and talking about individuals that are getting screwed for small amounts of marijuana, I looked into the Clean Slate Act that was drafted by the state in 17 or 18, something along those lines. The state representative Jordan Harris, who was also the appropriations chair in 2023, made amendments to it. He limited some things and he added a lot more charges or convictions to what can be either sealed or expunged. So I reached out to the chairman of appropriations. I reached out to Mr. Welsh here. On July 15th from 10 a.m. to 12 at Shiloh Church, I'm hosting an event. The North Bend League will be there. Thank you. July 12th from 10 to 12 at Shiloh Chapel. Myself, Joe Welsh, Appropriations Chair, State Rep from Philadelphia, Jordan Harris, District Attorney Barada. We have 2 attorneys and North Penn Legal. Residents can come in, learn about what convictions are eligible for expungement or sealment. They can go right up, put their names in, find out if they're eligible. Our attorney, Gary Aztec, as well as Tyree Blair, will be there to start the process. We can't build strong cities if a lot of our people can't get in the game. So I just want to make those announcements. That's all I have, Mayor.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Pinbone. Anyone else?
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Councilman Ruggles, I wish you were here today. I was with the fire department last week, and this is a picture of keys. So when an elevator in the city of Easton breaks down, our fire department has to show up and go key by key to find out which one belongs for each elevator. When they go to turn off the alarm box, they have to go through this set of keys to find out which one fits the alarm box. Talking to the firefighters, talking to Chief Henning, what I'd like to do with Mr. Ruggles, Councilman Ruggles, Councilwoman Rose, is talk to our departments. I'd like to see an ordinance or something be passed to where going forward all elevators or alarm boxes are on the same key. This
should be
How
the
do you do that
knockbox
with the
too.
manufacturing?
Say it again.
How do you do that with the manufacturers?
Well, I'm sure we can figure it out because the whole state of Jersey does it.
And it should be the knockbox.
Should be in the Knox box.
Well, this is what they carry on the fire trucks, and they got during graduation of Lafayette 3rd Street Garage here, our elevator got stuck. Not because of the elevator; they had like 13 people, many of my size, on the elevator, so they got it stuck. They had to go through each key to find out which one to unlock the thing. So this is just another thing. I think we're in. It's very archaic, and we need to look at a way to do it better. So I will share this with Karen. And we'll work.
Every building is required to have a Knox box, and in that Knox box supposed to be all the keys to the various doors.
That's right. Yep.
Well, I spoke to the I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman.
I agree with you. I think that the fire department shouldn't be going through a whole bunch of keys to try to figure out which one is the right one. That's no question. So I think we need to look at that, and I'll have my committee do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you, Councilman.
And I don't think you need a resolution either, by the way. I think it's an administrative task that you just follow through with.
But and I'm fine with whatever you decide, but I'm more looking at going forward with new development and things to make sure they're complying with whatever we have in there, so we're not getting different keys from different.
Oh, okay. Just like we have that legislation or resolutions that deal or policies, I should say, the fire department has with the knock boxes.
Yes.
We should just ask the
Just
fire
add that to
department how would you address it?
All right.
Because it just seems like something you could do primarily administratively, and if we have to amend something that exists already, we could just amend it to include that, because we have something in place. That I can't tell you.
That's fine, whatever we have to do. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Any others?
Mayor, just want to clarify, Ms. Rose does have a draft because it's in public meeting, want to make sure public is clear. She just thought there probably a final draft. So that's the thing. But draft.
There have been several drafts I've seen, but as I was saying to you, like
What's being
the last point that was made that I can recall at least is that you met with Mr. Campos, and there was going to be some period of time that he was reviewing. I haven't seen anything since then, so I don't.
Yeah,
I can't really comment on something that's not in its final
That
form.
was right
that
after.
is the draft.
That's
I'm sorry,
my
Council.
only point.
That was right after.
No, that is the draft. Yeah.
That was right after we seen the presentation.
That is the draft. That is the original
But
draft.
then nothing was changed on that one.
No, that is the original draft.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Moved in second on the discussion. Roll call.
We're all
Ettinger?
finished again.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms.